Kids across Colorado are missing one critical step in the back-to-school process. The state's childhood vaccination rates are falling again. They're below recommended levels in two of the biggest school districts.
9 News reporter Cole Sullivan shows us how the youngest kids are the least protected.
Knowing vaccines,
I know, it is a lot.
and recommending kids get them
So these are those 3 vaccines for our middle schoolers.
is part of the job for Becca Miles.
These are both single dose.
The Arapahoe County public health nurse thought it would get easier once shots slowed COVID's spread.
I thought for sure everyone would say, I love vaccines. Not quite how it's gone.
Instead, data from the state shows fewer Colorado parents are vaccinating their children. Kindergartners saw the worst drop.
That MMR rate, the measles vaccination rate right now is particularly one that we want to get up.
Statewide, 1 in every 7 5-year-olds is not covered for measles, in part because parents claimed vaccine exemptions for 1 of every 25 kindergartners.
One of the most important diseases as far as that percentage of protection is measles. Measles is unbelievably contagious.
Denver and Aurora school districts are the least covered in the metro area. Both fall below the recommended 95% measles vaccination rate.
I really think just the sheer volume of information, whether that's good information or not so accurate information, is really can be overwhelming because there's so much.
She says COVID did not help with misinformation, but trusted providers like public health nurses can share legit resources and research if only parents come to ask.
I definitely feel concerned for the next few years about this changing landscape, and I hope that people come find us.
Some families are still catching up from delayed appointments during the pandemic. Nurse Miles says it's not hard to get kids back on track with vaccines. Many health departments plan back-to-school vaccine events at this time of year, and in Arapahoe County, it's actually this weekend.
Good to know there's some services out there. We're getting the word about this out because, you know, with the smaller kids, when they're in school, one person catches something, it's like the whole class has it, and it's a lot to deal with.
It can spread fast, and that's why, especially with diseases that are so contagious, like measles, they want to make sure as many people get vaccinated as possible.
Absolutely. Cole, thank you.
A man is in jail tonight, accused of exposing himself and trying to assault multiple women on trails in Jefferson County. Deputies have been looking for this guy for months. They say they finally got him last night after hikers called 911.
This guy passed us, and he seemed a little bit strange. He didn't make any eye contact. He didn't say hello. He didn't reply to hello.
Cassia Zach was hiking with friends along the Beaverbrook Trail off I-70 last night. She told us that after the man passed their group, she heard a woman scream. Zach says the woman ran up to them and said that man had tried to sexually assault her. They helped her call 911. Then they came across another hiker with a similar story. Jefferson County deputies raced to that trail.
We were on it very quickly. Lots of resources, 25 people in a very short period of time.
The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says they swarmed the area with both officers and drones to search. After 2.5 hours, they found 20-year-old Glenn Braden from Evergreen. He's in jail on investigation of unlawful sexual contact and indecent exposure, due in court tomorrow morning. Investigators are still searching for the man accused of exposing himself to people on a trail in Douglas County. That happened on Crooked Stick Trail in Lone Tree more than 2 weeks ago. Deputies say a man on a bike followed someone, exposed himself, then rode away.
When the Denver minimum wage increased in November, some employers elected not to obey the law and pay their workers what they were owed. The Denver Auditor's Office has recovered more than 1 million unpaid wages since November. Customer service company 24/7 In Touch was forced to pay back the most in back wages and penalties. According to the auditor, about 300,000 went to 161 employees. Carlise Morris was one of those employees. Morris was paid $15 an hour in 2022 and 2023, even though the Denver minimum wage was $15.86 in 2022. Then it jumped up to $17.29 in 2023. So after complaining to the company, she was let go. Then she reported it to the auditor's office, who determined Morris was owed $7,000, $100 from her former employer.
To have that money finally get back to me, it really does feel like justice was served. I know Department of Labor did their thing and probably fined them a lot of money, but for me, I really do feel like I got my justification, because for months it was, oh no, we don't have to follow that law. We don't have to abide by that. And in the end, I ended up losing a job I really loved. And got justice in the end.
Denver's minimum wage will increase again another $1 per hour January 1st of next year. The minimum wage is the law. So if you are making less than what the law dictates, reach out to the auditor's office. They can help you recoup what you're owed. Auditor Tim O'Brien says no case is too small to investigate.
Emergency managers in Elbert County are still coordinating repairs from the flooding that happened there nearly 2 months ago. The state issued a disaster declaration for that flooding back in June. The county is still waiting to see if FEMA will help as well. Elbert County Road and Bridge crews have 6 more roads to repair, and they are hoping they can get it done next week unless more bad weather gets in the way. So they're listening closely to what Danielle Grant has to say about those possibilities.
Yeah, no pressure at all, you guys. At least I was happy to report we had a beautiful day today. Were you able to get outside, soak it in?
It was very nice.
80s, sunshine, virtually no cloud cover out there. I mean, wow, what a awesome summer day. As we look across downtown Denver tonight, all right, a couple more clouds starting to stream in, but that is about it, you guys. Temperatures falling into the 60s at this 9 o'clock hour. We're in the 60s and low 70s off to the eastern plains, 50s, 60s up in the high country, and of course, the warmest spot on my map, Grand Junction, as always, still hovering in the mid 80s. Tonight on the radar, you can see just a couple of isolated storms cruising in from the southwest around Trinidad. Otherwise, the entire state looking dry. A couple of clouds out to the western slope, but that's going to be about it. Tomorrow, yes, we're going to crank up the dial as far as the heat is concerned. Highs are going to be returning to the upper 80s, lower 90s around here, and you'll notice, well, we don't really have a decent chance at seeing any kind of storms. They will be isolated, few and far between, so keep that in mind if you have any kind of afternoon plans, but nothing severe for us. This evening, soak it in while you can. The heat, it is back tomorrow. How long does that stick around? I'll have that weekend forecast coming your way that could include a few storms in just a few minutes.
Sounds good. So the disbarred former district attorney for Colorado's San Luis Valley is facing a new legal battle. The guy he replaced claims Alonzo Payne filed fake charges over Christmas bonuses in the DA's office. Alonzo Payne resigned last summer after an investigation found he ignored and mistreated crime victims. Payne was also facing a recall election. His predecessor, Bob Willett, just filed a federal lawsuit against Payne. Willett ran against Payne in 2020 and he lost. He claims Payne then ordered an investigation into Christmas bonuses from Willett's last months in office and then charged Willett with felony embezzlement. A special prosecutor later dropped those charges. Willett filed a federal lawsuit against Payne trying to get some money and new training for the 12th Judicial DA's office. The new DA says they're now fully staffed and thriving.
Denver is reworking its list of potential spots for new tiny home villages after the Johnston administration got some instant pushback from city council. The mayor says the city needs those homes to do what no major American city has ever done, end homelessness. Johnson says he plans to get 1,000 people off the streets by the end of the year. And today, the mayor's point person on homelessness said that half those people can go into existing housing. The other 500 can enter what are called non-congregate shelters, so think converted hotels. Johnson ran on a pledge to add tiny homes across the city. He wants to go from 50 to 500 by the end of the year. We asked for a list of potential locations during the campaign. Johnson would not share it then. Now, apparently, at least some on city council have seen this list and were not impressed.
The first list I saw from the mayor's office had, the District 5 properties were Stack Elementary School, Hill Middle School, someone's private house, the right-of-way in front of the Eating Recovery Center, and a 10-foot strip of land on Fifth Avenue.
Obviously, the list that was originally considered being published was not ready for that.
That was the guy in charge of the mayor's homelessness plan, who says the city's real estate division is now working on a new list of sites that could host tiny homes. City Council also says that it wants to see more specifics on the mayor's state of emergency on homelessness before they vote to extend it another month.
The White House is working on ways to make schools safer from cyber attacks. The Biden administration held a summit yesterday, announcing new steps to protect schools' data. A report from the Government Accountability Office found more than 1.2 million students went to school districts targeted in these hacks in 2020. Just last week, the State Department of Higher Education reported a massive data breach. Anybody who went to public school in Colorado from 2004 to 2020, this is high school, may have gotten caught up in the attack. A federal agency is stepping up security assessments tailored to K through 12 12 schools. Tech companies like Amazon and Google are working with the White House, to offer grants to help with security. The Federal Communications Commission is also considering a plan to free up $200 million to improve computer security at schools and libraries.
Communities across Colorado are using AI to find wildfires faster. Carbondale Rural Fire Protection is the latest in the state to use AI cameras to watch for the first signs of fire. Their neighbors in Aspen were the first in the state to pilot that program back in 2020. It pairs 360-degree cameras with AI software to watch for signs of smoke and then alert firefighters. Carbondale Fire is setting up one camera. They're going to have to wait about 2 weeks because they need a helicopter to install it. It turns out the helicopters they need are busy fighting fires right now. The company behind the program, Pano AI, says they have close to 20 cameras set up in 10 communities across the state.